Hey guys, I'm Jim. I edit photos. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm in On1 Photo Raw 2021 and I just use luminosity masks like crazy in On1. They're so good, they're so powerful, they're so effective. That's what I'm doing in this video, just kind of walking through an edit that I did of this street scene in Dublin. Here it is. This is Temple Bar. Early one morning, it was kind of funny that Temple Bar is like famous, you know, Guinness and all that, and there's all these Heineken signs hanging. Thought that was kind of funny, but regardless, I like the scene. I like the little bike over here, but you can't see it. It's dark and all that kind of stuff. I did crop the photo and fix the verticals before I started this video, but what I want to do is walk through everything I did to really make this photo pop, and it really came down to luminosity masks. They're just incredibly powerful and just amazing, to be honest, and so useful. So I'm kind of working through my basic stuff here in the tone and color component of the develop tab, and I'm going to go ahead and lift the shadows. I lift those quite a bit. It was just way too dark. Now you can kind of see the scene a little bit, and temperature and tint, that actually looks fine. So that's my base photo. You can see the scene, and what I really want to do is bring it to life. And these are the perfect kind of photos where luminosity masks come in handy, and that's because brighter sky, darker foreground, and the kind of edits I want to do in the sky are different, very different than what I want to do in the foreground. So the luminosity mask allows you to separate them. So powerful, so amazing. So the first thing I want to do is add this local adjustment, and I want a luminosity mask because this is going to be for the sky. So if I click view, you can see it's isolated the sky for me just perfectly. I don't want to drop the exposure that much. Actually, yes, I do. Looking at my notes here, I'm going to pull the highlights down a little bit as well, and the temperature and the tint. I am going to make it a little bit bluer, so I'm going to go like a -9, and I'm going to go +9 on the tint, and I'm also going to go vibrance up to about a 30. There you go. So that has just impacted the sky. So if I click that off, there's the sky before and there's the sky after. I just think that looks so fantastic. I'm going to add another local adjustment, add another luminosity mask. This time I'm going to invert it because I'm working on the reverse, which is going to be the street. So if I show you the mask, you can just see it picked up all that. Remember, white reveals, black conceals. And so where it's white is where my edits are going to be revealed. So this one, because it's the street, I'm going to increase the exposure. I'm going to go to about a 0.6. I'm going to add a tiny bit of contrast, so like maybe a 15. Structure is going to go up, 20, 22, something like that. Temperature and tint, I'm actually going to warm them up a little bit, so a little bit more temp and a little bit of tint as well, and a little bit of vibrance. So I'm just kind of popping that street scene a little bit, and there we go. So if I turn this off, there's before and there's after. It's definitely brought that street to life. And so at this point, I was actually pretty happy with the photo. I've been able to make a huge impact. If I turn these two off, you can just see that I've come a long way from where I was before. There it is with my basic edits over on the develop tab. But when I add in the sky adjustment and the street adjustment, I've kind of rebalanced the light and done some things. But now I want to get into effects and really kind of have some fun. So the first one is going to be HDR look. And I'm going to go with the default settings there, but once again, I'm going to get a luminosity mask because I don't want this applying everywhere. I just want it to apply to the sky, or excuse me, to the foreground. So I'm going to click invert, and if you look at view, you can see my luminosity mask is there. However, this is where levels comes in for me. So I'm going to pull the levels down like that, and this as well. And you can see basically what I've done is I've completely created a black sky, which is fantastic because that means absolutely nothing is going into the sky and everything is going into where it's white. And so I think that looks fantastic. I'm going to use that again. So I'm going to click copy, click view to get out of that look. And basically HDR look has gone into all the buildings and the street. So there it is before and there it is after the luminosity mask. Amazing control. I just absolutely adore that. After that, I'm going to go get color balance. And what I'm going to do here is go ahead and paste that mask, paste, and I am going to click invert because what I want to do is just isolate the sky. So if I click view, you can see my sky is fairly isolated. Remember, white reveals, so where it's white is where these color adjustments I'm about to make are going to go. So speaking of color adjustments, I'm going to go into the midtones, and my hue is going to be a 228, and my amount is an 87. So I'm just creating more blue in the sky, so I went really high here. And my brightness is going to be about a 45. So that's just the midtones. Let me turn this off. There it is before, and there it is after, creating a little bit more blue in the sky, which I like. I wanted to bring up kind of that blue hour kind of look. Actually, I did come in, and I'm doing this kind of live now. I did come in and make some adjustments to the levels. So I'm doing a little bit of this. I'm just trying to get that mask to look just right. Yeah, I think something about like that looks perfect. Let me show you, turn that off, and let me show you a color balance now. So there it is in the sky, or excuse me, without it in the sky, and there it is with it in the sky. If you view the mask, you can see I've isolated that sky pretty well. I'm going to use that mask again. So I'm going to click copy, click view to turn that off, and I'm going to get my next tool, which is dynamic contrast. So click on that, add it. Let me go ahead and paste this mask. So once again, if I show you view, my mask is there. I just copied it from the previous tool. I'm going to close this masking window, and all I'm doing is basically going negative, pretty heavily negative on all of these sliders, just to basically create a softer look in the sky. So isolated the sky with the luminosity mask from the last filter, copied that, pasted it here, and then just went negative on dynamic contrast to just kind of smooth out the sky. And now I'm going to go get a color adjustment, and I want to do a little bit of that in the sky as well. So once again, I've already got that mask created, so I just paste, and I've isolated the sky once again automatically because of the luminosity mask. So once you make it and you've isolated these areas, you can just copy and paste, to your heart's content, which is basically what I'm doing. So pasted that mask in, and I want to go in here to the blue, and I'm going to pull the hue to the right to about a 20. I'm going to pull up the saturation to about a 24, and I'm actually going to pull the brightness down about a -10 or 11. And so let me show you that before and after. There it is before with the without the color adjustment, and once again, because I've isolated the sky so well with these luminosity masks, I'm able to adjust the blues in the sky just easily and perfectly. And I've just got a couple more tools to adjust or to add. I'm going to start with sunshine, and here I'm going to go to a mount of about a 70. I'm going to give it about a 10 on warmth, just to kick that warm feeling a little bit, and saturation a 10 as well. And these are going to apply globally. You can kind of see how it's hitting the entire photo. Let me turn that off. There it is before the sunshine, and there it is with. I like that tool a lot, or that filter. I tend to apply sunshine globally most of the time, not always, but in this case I wanted it globally. It adds a nice little kick of color across the entire photo. I like that quite a bit. And I'm just going to wrap this up with a border, something else about On1 that I've gotten to really like, and that is just using some of these basic borders, but I am going to scale it to about a -7, and that just slims it down a little bit. So if I turn this off, there it is before. I've got a little bit of stuff on the left-hand side and a little bit on the right that I don't care so much about. That border kind of helps me, hide that, for lack of a better word. Now, it could crop if I wanted to, but I really just like the border. I think that white border is a nice offset to the bright color here. And that's my full edit, my friends. The luminosity mask, the power of those in On1, honestly, it's unreal. I use it so much, and I encourage you to experiment with it as well. And don't forget, using levels will help you further isolate a particular area, the bright parts or the dark parts, and then you just copy and paste to your heart's content. So let me show you the before. Dark, leaning back, just kind of blah all the way around. And then after some adjustments, got it to lean forward and straighten up with transform. I brightened it and did a lot of different things with the local adjustments and these different filters, using luminosity masks to really just pop that photo. And frankly, I'm quite proud of this one. I think it looks fantastic. And if I show you the before and after, you can see that we've come quite a long way. And a lot of that, in fact, most of that is due to the power of luminosity masking in On1. It just works so well. It's so powerful. It's so fantastic at letting you isolate those areas. I love it. I use it all the time. And if you haven't tried it, I encourage you to experiment with it. That's my edit, my friends. Hope it gives you some ideas. Hope it inspires you to try some of these things on your own photos. Thanks for watching, my friends. I'll catch you in the next video. I'll be back really soon with more. Have fun editing. I'll see you soon, and adios.